What up, my peeps? You know, I launched a stream and I was like, man, I fucked up. So those of you that don't know the YouTube game, you get 3 notifications a day. So we have the live show, the stake video, then I pumped out a Hedera video, which means this video will not be getting a notification. Damn it. Very disappointed in myself. All jokes aside, you guys, welcome back to another TA stream here at Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your host for today. And again, as I put in Discord, very sorry for the inconsistency of the streaming. Those of you that are in the Discord, you guys know my kid's been dealing with some health issues, everything at the studio, trying to balance really everything. And so definitely been inconsistent, not something I enjoy doing. So to all of you that are here, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. All right, today, interesting day in the markets. Like just that feeling that Bitcoin just wants to run. It's just like you're in a relationship, you're not happy, and you're looking for just one little thing to give you the nudge to get rid of her, you know, just dump her, move on to the next one. And I feel like that's what Bitcoin is waiting for, just one glimmer of hope. A China deal, an EU deal, a Japan deal, Fed pivoting, Jerome Powell getting fired. I don't know. It's just one thing that Bitcoin needs. But actually, I was looking at the Bitcoin chart, and I'll throw on the music here. I was looking at the Bitcoin chart, and interesting thing I saw on the quarterly. So you guys know, well, not you guys know, but you guys see the same thing I'm seeing, right? And so we look at this together and we say, well, what pattern are we seeing here? Okay, here's a pattern I'm seeing. One quarter here, this is what we're looking at right here. This was a 68% rally. And then this candle right here was the quarter right after. So this was Q1 of 24, big rally. Q2 of 24, 12% drawdown. Q3 of 24, which is this candle right here. Am I drawing? There we go. This candle right here, this is call it a doji, call it a spinning top. It's essentially an indecision candle, okay? Big wicks to the upside, big wicks to the downside. Price really closes where it opened, closing the green, 1%. And then the cycle started again. 47% rally. That's in Q4 of 2024. The next quarter, Q1 of 2025, we saw 11.6% drawdown. And this is where we are now in Q2 of 2025. And we are printing a spinning top pattern or candle, which again is an indecision candle. Are we going to see this level of a candle in the next quarter? Another 68% candle or another 50% candle? If it does, we're looking at, depending on where this breaks, if it breaks from here, I know I'm going to have to market cipher B. I'm going to minimize you just for a little bit. We're talking 68%. We had one at 50%. If we hit the 50% level, that's $130,000 Bitcoin. If we hit more, that's 68%. That's $145,000. If we hit that 75 to 85%, you're looking at anywhere between $152 to $160 to $70,000 Bitcoin. Now, of course, doesn't mean that because we saw this pattern play out that we're going to see the exact same thing play out again. But it's just very eerie that we're seeing almost identical numbers play out on the quarterly for BTC. Now on the daily, we talked about this pattern, this inverse head and shoulders pattern on BTC on the higher time frame. It looks like it's playing out fairly nicely. There's your left shoulder, there's your head. We didn't get quite the dip. Maybe this is a super, disformed right shoulder that doesn't dip like this one did or like it normally does. And maybe 83.3, which is a level that I've been eyeing, that's been on my chart for a while, essentially had a triple bottom here. Close, wick, push to the upside. Bitcoin is catching some resistance at the 85.5 level, which is we had that massive close and we gave it all back. This was back on the 1st of April. So April Fools were pumping. Never mind. The next day we come back down. Bitcoin's been chopping. But this inverse head and shoulders pattern, I think we'll start to play out. And again, we're just seeing just the knock at the door. Like, let me in, let me loose, something. But it's just one thing after another. Bad news. Trump keeps talking. He wants to get rid of Powell. Jerome Powell does. So a lot of uncertainty. But there's a difference between looking at a chart from just a technical standpoint, looking at a project from a fundamental standpoint, and then there's this like gut feeling, right? It's what Rob operates off of 90% of the time. Is he always says, I got a gut feeling. I'm the sentiment guy. My gut is telling me that it's just Bitcoin is just that pot of water is just boiling and it just wants to explode and send that lid to the moon. I feel like that's where we are with BTC. I really do, man. And so if we get news that the US has agreed to terms with China, I think this thing explodes. If we get news that, I don't know, top 5 economy has adopted a Bitcoin reserve, a strategic reserve, or accumulating Bitcoin, I think that will be a catalyst. Or the Fed pivots, I think that'll also be a catalyst. One of these catalysts to play out, and I think we're off to the races, my friends. We take a look at market cipher B. We look at some money flow here. Money flow is still red, not good. We want to push to the upside, break above that midline, and we want to see lots of green like we saw here. Lots of green. RSI is looking at like it's getting to overbought territory on BTC. On the weekly, though, we did get a green dot on market cipher B, which is very good. And just, we always say zoom out, right? Really, you go back to 2023, Bitcoin money flow on the weekly has been green with one small blip right here. It was a matter of from the week of the 4th. So for 2 weeks in September of 2023, we've had negative money flow on the weekly. Outside of that, from really June of 2023, this thing has been nothing but green. And again, green dot on the weekly. Last time we saw a green dot on the weekly on BTC, let's take a peek, was here. And what did Bitcoin do? Well, let's take a peek. The very next candle, we saw a little bit of a drawdown, but that rally was a 71% rally. The time before that was here on the weekly. What did Bitcoin do? Had a small pullback, and they rallied 190%. And so, again, with indicators like market cipher, be really any indicator. I don't just look at, oh, green dot, I have to buy. But it's just foresighting what we can see moving forward and what we can expect from the price of BTC. I'm also going to take a look at this chart. We'll look at Kaspa chart. We'll take a look at some altcoins as well. But to those of you that are here, welcome. If there's anything you'd like me to take a look at, any thoughts you'd like to share, this is a community stream. I do this for you guys. I can very well turn off this camera and just do my own charting. But I want to share my insight, my kind of the way I do things on the charts with you. So if there's anything you want to look at, any commentary, whatever, please, guys, feel free to throw it in the chat. Shout out to all the mods in here, helping keep the chat clean. Also, in case you missed the morning show, I'm doing a $100 giveaway. All you got to do is go watch that stake video we posted earlier today. It's about 11 minutes long. Once you're done watching it, comment stake, and then you'll be automatically in there to win a little bit of money. Now, I briefly shared this chart. You know, I don't know what the hell was wrong with Rob this morning. The dude was on one. I don't know. I couldn't get out 2 words in. But I was trying to show was 2 charts. One chart, we'll start with total 3. Total 3. So this is the altcoin market cap minus BTC minus Ethereum, okay? And this is on the daily. We saw this falling wedge pattern, and we are currently in the midst of a breakout, okay? Let's look at some zoom in on the price action. I'll say kind of had an inverse, but not really. Anyways, we saw a breakout, fake out, close below, come right back into the pattern, breakout again, put in this doji, failed, broke above, closed right at that trend line, and then this is our second day with a close above the trend line. If this thing holds, then we could see a big rally in the altcoin markets. Now, the funny thing here, okay, so we joke all the time on the show about ETH. I'm more of a believer in ETH. I don't think it's going to be the biggest gainer, but I also don't. I'm also not in Rob's camp. So this is excluding ETH. And when you look at market cipher B, we have a beautiful long setup, anchor wave, trigger wave, green dot, off to the races. This thing is pretty damn accurate. We go to total 2, which is altcoins, excluding just Bitcoin, not Ethereum. So Ethereum is included in the total 2. Similar setup on price action, break above, retest, chop on top. In fact, this chart from a price action standpoint looks a lot stronger than the total 3 does. But look at market cipher B. Anchor wave, right, with a green dot, just like we saw. But our trigger wave, we did not get a green dot. We got a red dot. So ETH, that was actually me hiding a yawn because I'm super tired. What a long day today has been. But the one with the total altcoin cap with ETH gives us a red dot. The total market cap without ETH gives us a green dot, a red dot and a green dot. The green dot is what we care about, right? We get a red dot, but we get a green dot. Great. Cool. That's all we care about. And so I just thought that was super funny. But what this is telling me, my friends, at least on the total 3, breakout, retest, confirmation. Yes, this looks great. This has been a 3 to 4 month downtrend on the total market cap for the alts. And to see this anchor wave, trigger wave, we still have money flow deep in the red. We want to see that come to the upside. We zoom into maybe let's go to the half day. Let's go to the 12-hour. You see money flow is attempting to reverse to the upside and break. RSI stochastics are pointing up. Didn't get the anchor trigger wave setup like we did on the daily, but obviously the higher the time frames and you get these indicators flashing, the more it means, the more important it is. But if we zoom out, we look at the 8-day. This is a beautiful anchor trigger wave setup for a long entry, crossover on the VWAP. Since yesterday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is good. And that looks like it is looking to expand more to the upside. We want to see that VWAP continue to go to the upside. And this is a great setup. 8-hour looks great. Daily looks great. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly, not so great. Money flow is still green. This is still on total 3, so excluding BTC and ETH. No green dot, which we want to see, but we are about to get a crossover on our VWAP. So we're only at minus 1.3. We want to be above that midline. And then we want to see this thing start to curve inwardly, which if you really zoom in, you're starting to see a little bit of that, right? Instead of this sharp downturn, it kind of started curving inward. Then we want to see this thing push back up to the upside on the weekly for the total 3 on the altcoins. And so setup looks great. Now the question then becomes, okay, David, you're saying altcoins outside of ETH and Bitcoin, or crypto outside of ETH and Bitcoin, is looking like a breakout coming. Okay, well, how do I trade it, right? There's no indices, as far as I know, on any platform you can trade. So then you start looking at, okay, well, what altcoins are primed for a breakout? The one I got my eye on right now is Kaspa. Why? Let's start on the daily. Kaspa on the daily, this downtrend we've been in since December of last year. Bump up against, lose it. Bump, lose it. Bump, rejection. And then we start consolidating. We put in a double bottom here around 5.1 cents. I'm actually going to adjust this. Around 5.24 cents. Double bottom. We come in, break. We didn't get our retest that we want to see, right? We kind of got there on a wick, but we want to see a close of a retest. We didn't quite get that. We got to break above, and then Kaspa just started running. Now, if we zoom into the 4-hour, Kaspa is in a beautiful bullish pennant, which is nearing its end on the 4-hour. Let me zoom into the chart here. And a bullish pennant is very similar to a bull flag, but instead of a falling channel, you have essentially a symmetrical triangle. And as you can see here, just perfectly testing resistance, failing, testing support, not failing. And we are coming to the end of this pattern. Now, from a trading standpoint, you try to front run the bounce here. You want to scalp, sure. Enter in here at 7.5 cents. Exit before it hits 7.74 cents. Although I will tell you, you're going to have a lot of leverage to really make it meaningful from a risk to reward standpoint. Obviously, the higher you go up the risk curve as far as your leverage, the riskier it becomes. And so you have that to deal with. But a better way to trade this, me personally, maybe it's not the right way. Maybe we miss out on a little bit of gains. Break above. We say it all the time. A bump and run. A retest of this trend line, which currently sits at, let me drop a flag, 7.7646 cents. We come in 7.76. We come in, we get a retest. We want to see a candle close above, and then we enter into a long, look to make some money on Kaspa. Now, as far as take profit resistance levels forecasts, just immediately on the 4 hour, the first place I look is 8.276 cents. So if you're entering into a long at 7.7 cents, that's decent. I don't know, 15 to 20%. We'll take what we can get in these market conditions. And so that would be my first TP level that I'd be looking at. And another good tool you can use is your high volume points. Take a look at, okay, where did sellers step in and just annihilate the chart? And let's hide some of these. Let's clear up the chart a little bit. We can actually get rid of that. We'll get rid of that. Let's hide this trend line. Okay, there we go. So we'll keep our double bottom support level on there, and then we'll just leave on our liquidity points or our volume points. And you can see here twice now. And again, I said this was a triple top on Kaspa on the 4 hour. 1, 2, 3. 1 on a close, 2 on a wick. Each time Kaspa failed and pushed to the downside. The first one was a 10% drop. Second test on a close was another 8.5% drop. And the very last one, I mean, if you want to take this thing wick to wick, was a 36% drawdown. But the first stop we had was around a 7.6% drawdown. And so you look at the numbers, right? You look at the metrics. The first time we came up here, 1 billion Kaspa was sold. Second time we come up here, 1.4 billion Kaspa was sold. The third time, though, we didn't get another high volume liquidity point, but you combine these two, you're looking at $2.5 billion of Kaspa that was sold at this level of 8.25 cents. And so logically, if we are going to take this long trade, we want to set our TP just under this 8.25 cent level. Now, if you feel confident that the move has momentum, has velocity, right? We look at things like volume. We can also look at things like market cipher B. When that breakout happens, what are we seeing on market cipher B? Also, what are we seeing on market cipher A? We're seeing continuation. Are we seeing trend reversal? Are we seeing manipulation from whales? So these are all tools you can use to identify, do I let this thing run or do I take it all out at 8.25 cents? And so my strategy would be trade the breakout on the retest, enter along, set my first TP under 8.25 cents, and then watch the chart and see what it does. Go to even the lower time frames, maybe even work the higher time frames. And at that point, you can decide, okay, do I want to just exit everything else completely, take 25 or 50% off the table, reevaluate when the price gets up there, and then decide, do I take the rest out now, or do I leave the rest and then find your other resistance levels a little higher up? And so we can do that now together. Start on the daily. So we've identified the 8.25 to 8.3 cent, and we can also do as well is we can throw on our VRVP. And so right now where we are at, where price is consolidating on the larger time frame, you see this big volume spike. And then on the daily, you really have a gap until you get to that 8.5 to 8.6. You have another gap until you get to around 10 cents. We had this wick high here sitting right under 9.5 cents. So that would be my next level. So 8.25 and then around 9.5 cents. We clear those levels, my friends. The next big level we're looking at is that 11 to 12 cent level. That is where Kaspa consolidated, right? Kind of played ping pong around this level. We had one big spike up, came down, caught support, and then we had that spill off. And again, this is on the higher time frame. So you can work your way that way, and then work your way down on the 4 hour, work your way down on the 1 hour. When this thing breaks, then your first TP level initiates, and you take that profit, whether it's 25%, 50%, come back down to the 1 hour, come down to the 30-minute, and take a look at what price is doing. And you can see here as the liquidity points, tons of selling between 7.8 to around 8 cents. So people are taking profits. We want to see volume spike as the move happens. And so for me, this is when I'm eyeing a breakout of this bullish pennant. And yes, Where was my other trend line? I got to start labeling these, right? No. Yeah, I got to. Okay, I think. There we go. So that's pretty much what we're looking for. And, you know, I never used to understand how people's charts got so all over the place. And then you start streaming and doing charts like, oh, that's how it happens. And so that's how I'm looking to trade Kaspa. But Kaspa chart looks strong, in my opinion. And then if we zoom into maybe the 15-minute all market cipher B, start the 30-minute. Green dot on the 30-minute, crossover on the VWAP above our midline, which is great. We want to see this money flow move to the upside. RSI stochastics pointing up, also very good. And then could we maybe see on the 30-minute, this becomes our anchor wave. Could we see one more momentum wave, much smaller, kind of like this one, really a sharp reversal to the upside with a green dot. And then at that point, we can come back to the longer time frame. We can see, okay, what is price doing? Are we expecting this thing to break to the upside? But from a fundamental standpoint, you guys know we're big Kaspa fans on the channel. But from a TA standpoint, looking to scalp some trades, wait for a breakout on the 4-hour, because this thing could very well be invalidated. And this just, we remove this and it just becomes a symmetrical triangle, which is 50-50 upside downside. But everything tells me we're going to push to the upside on Kaspa. So if you're a Kaspa fan, things are looking good, my friends. Yeah. Damn, my boy Po Man over here. It's not Friday yet, so it's not payday. Must have made some money on some trades. Shout out to you, brother. 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. Also, if you're new here, make sure you're subbed to the channel. If there's anything you'd like me to take a look at, my fundamental or technical analysis, please let me know. Sean Z, $5 super chat said, can we look at ICP, please? Yes, we may look at ICP, please. Okay. So you guys know we have a pretty good relationship with Definity, with Kyle Langham on this channel. ICP, we've covered them, although we haven't covered them in a while. But we have covered them extensively previously. You know, I said this on, as I try to find ICP, I said this on the blockchain basement. Why can I never find the freaking ticker that I'm looking for when I need it? So I was on blockchain basement a couple of days ago. And I was talking to Drew and he asked me about ICP. He's like, hey, are you punting on ICP or are you still believing in it? I told him, I was like, look, I still believe in ICP. I said, the problem with ICP is they got such amazing tech and their capabilities and what they can do. And I referenced, you know, an analogy was, if you make a restaurant, you build a restaurant and you have the best food on the planet, grandma's recipes passed down generations. Shit no one's tasted before. It's the best thing ever. Great. If people aren't coming into your restaurant to try your food, none of that matters. You'll put in orders for your food and your vegetables and you'll hire employees and you'll pay them, but you'll have no revenue coming in. And your business will eventually have to close. I'm not saying ICP is going to close, but that's the analogy I gave. Is the tech side of ICP from a tech standpoint, it's truly a unicorn, right? Infinitely scalable. I can go on the fundamentals. But if people don't know about it, if they are not using it, then it means nothing. And so we saw what a project like Bob.Fun can do for ICP in terms of cycles burn and making the token deflationary. And this thing ran. I mean, this was it right here on the weekly. ICP ran ICP ran 342% in 126 days. It ran 244% in 35 days. That is the power of ICP and its tokenomics model. If it can get the dApps in there. If we can get some Bob.Fun in there, multiply that by 5, what kind of move does that look like? But again, it all comes down to, are people going to be using it? And so when we talk about adoption and tech, you can have the best restaurant, you can have the best tech, it doesn't matter. We need to get people in there. And so we try to do our part by amplifying some of the great things that ICP is doing, but it's like a whole community thing. So to Sean, if you're part of the ICP community, my friend, continue to blast it out there, man. What ICP is capable of doing, the tech, the users. I mean, we just need to get people on board with ICP, because if we can amplify projects like Bob.Fun that brought massive amounts of users, this is what you can expect to see: large moves to the upside in a very short period of time. That's from a fundamental standpoint. From a technical standpoint, you zoom out, right? And for the average person who just looks at TA, you zoom out and you just look at a pure chart. This is pretty ugly. This is very ugly. Let's face it. This is one of the uglier charts in crypto, right? Massive, and this is taking, it's not even at that $1,200 or $700 the market makers. This is from Bybit, and this shows $62. Complete meltdown. Failed to make an all-time high, right? The next cycle. So this was the first cycle, came down. Failed to make a new all-time high. That's not good. And then attempted another push-up. Failed to take out the 2024 highs. And so price action, very bearish. But we give ICP a chance because we know what they can do from a tech side. But at some point, if they don't bring the users, they don't bring the dApps, the tech will mean nothing. Just like the restaurant analogy, it will mean nothing. The best food, the best dessert will mean nothing. And so we love the team. I love what Dfinity is doing. Again, they got the largest team of scientists on the largest group of scientists on their team. But we got to get the users in there, man, and anything we can do to help. And we've told Dfinity and Kyle, and they've taken us up on the offer, and we're looking forward to working with them in the future as well. But to watch a project like ICP, the amount of money, time, resources, and tech that's gone in there, and what it can do once adopted, in my opinion, I think it would be foolish for us to let it fail. And so, from a technical standpoint, and I haven't looked at this chart in a while. This is on the 4-hour. You kind of came into this bearish. Obviously, this is a bearish pattern. This head and shoulders. I am so bad at free drawing these necklines. Let's try that one more time. There you go. A breakdown on the 4-hour of this head and shoulders pattern. Very bearish. And the one thing that I'm seeing on ICP, or I'm seeing on really everything else that I'm not seeing on ICP, and let me double check before, so I don't have to put my foot in my mouth, is at these inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? And let me move this thing up so it's more accessible. Let's drop you right there. So you look at projects like I think we're looking at ADA, right? ADA, beautiful inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? Tron, not so much. Chainlink on the daily, this one kind of had an inverse head and shoulders pattern. HBAR, I believe, also had an inverse head and shoulders pattern. You look at ICP on its daily setup, you don't really have that, right? And so typically what you see with crypto is they all pretty much move the same. And if we just simply draw a trend line for ICP, right? Falling wedge, right? You're about to get a retest. We kind of got, not really. We want to get a retest, but this thing is grinding down. What you want to see with breakouts is you want to see a clean breakout, a retest, and essentially a bump and run. And we haven't seen that with ICP. So can we see this thing trickle down and kind of play this trend line, which obviously continues to go down in support and price? Or are we going to get that bounce and that big move to the upside? Again, we got to get dApps in there. You get dApps in there, you start burning ICP, it becomes inflationary. Now we're talking 20, 30% candles in a day. And the bags you've been holding at $4 or $5, you'll see those 10, 20x in literally no time. And just take a peek at Market Cipher B on the higher time frames. Well, actually, let's take a look at Market Cipher A first. Blood Diamond was not good. And then this was a reversal of the previous trend, which was up. And so that's pretty bearish as well. Let's take a peek on the lower time frames from Market Cipher A. So we had that bearish reversal on Market Cipher A, and these moving averages are expanding, meaning the trend is likely still in play on the 4-hour. These tell you there was manipulation going on from whales, and price just kind of chopped sideways. We did kind of put in a double bottom here on the 1-hour, which is good, but we're kind of in this range for ICP. Throw some trend lines on right? We're kind of range bound. Lots of wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside. And so this thing is a chop. You know, this thing, don't be surprised if ICP chops for, I don't know, another 30 days, 60 days. And so for me, I hold ICP. It's more of a fundamental long-term play, because if we're looking at ICP just from a technical standpoint, from a chart standpoint, it's pretty ugly. But we look past that for some projects that are worth it. We take a look at the fundamentals. So for me, I'm bullish on ICP fundamentally, but the clock is ticking for all altcoins, not just ICP. I'm not picking on ICP here. For all altcoins, time is ticking, because the people you've been building for are here, and they continue to be here. And if you're not grabbing that market share, you will slowly dwindle to zero. And again, I'm not just talking to ICP. I'm talking to a majority of the projects, almost all of them. So. All right. Taking a peek at the chat. Rob hijacked the show today. I had to fast forward. You know, Rob, I love Rob, man. Rob's my dude. He definitely goes on tangents, but that's what makes him fun to watch. Today's show, we joke a lot, but I thought today's show was great. It was funny. We had a good time. Like, it's one of the shows where you step back, you'll go back and watch it, like, damn, I had a lot of fun during that show. A lot of good jokes. Both of us are kind of fucking out there. But again, what do we always say? Our mantra is entertainment, right? I saw a comment in here. I like ICP in 10 years. I mean, really though, like, does it have 10 years? I don't know. Maybe. But I'm telling you, man, like, the people are here. People are here. Beebs said, what is your price target for Kaspa this year? This year, what do I think Kaspa's getting to? If I tell you the answer, you might not like it. I think it barely breaks its all-time high, and I'll tell you exactly why. Okay, and I did a Kaspa price prediction video, and I think got like $2-3. But obviously, and that was 4 months ago. Time goes on and stuff develops, and I look at Kaspa as the same way I looked at Cardano in 2021. Cardano and Kaspa are very alike, right? Both no VC, both fair launch, right? Both kind of the ethos of decentralization and users first. And so when you have that, it takes a lot longer to develop apps and bring users on your chain, because everything is done organically, right? We grew our channel organically, and 4 years later, we're still not at 100K subscribers. I can list 10 channels that I know for a fact fudged their numbers, and they got to 500K in a year, in 2 years. And so when you do things organically, it takes a lot longer. So Kaspa is in that boat, and we got to be fair to projects. We got to be fair to founders. We got to be fair to developers, and to assume that with no outside funding, no VCs, to come in and build out an ecosystem that's comparable to a Solana, to an Ethereum, to a Sui, which, by the way, all had funding, right? ETH had the first mover advantage, but Solana, massive VC funding, Sui, massive VC funding. For us to say, well, why isn't the price moving, right? If there's no manipulation, like Mantra, like Sui, like Solana, where you have a bunch of VCs holding coins that are able to manipulate the price up, then it's going to rise in value because of actual usage, because of actual dApps and users. And if you don't even have an ecosystem, you don't even have a stable coin, you don't even have a DEX or a dApp that really anyone knows, why are you expecting the price to pump to $5 or $10? It needs usage. And so this is the first cycle Kaspa's really had any sort of functionality, right? So we're getting crescendo, and I think it's 17 or 18 days. Smart contracts, token standard, these are all in development, and we can expect the price for, again, a token that is not manipulated by VCs and outside funding. we can't expect the price to just explode like Solana did or SWE did. And so if you're in the camp of, I want to see returns now, get out of Kaspa. If you're in the camp of, hey, I believe in this project, I believe in what they're doing, and I'm willing to sit back and watch it grow organically, then Kaspa's a great hold, man. Great team. Some even point to Jonathan Sampolinsky, who is a founder, as, hey, maybe this guy's Satoshi, super smart guy. And so it's unfair for you to sit here and expect Kaspa to really have a Solana-style run when it doesn't have the Solana-style tokenomics and the Solana-style funding. So if you're patient with Kaspa, I think it'll pay dividends. What they're doing is unique enough, I think, to carry it through the next cycle without having competitors come in, and then you give it one more cycle, just like we gave Cardano one cycle. You'll get the growth in the ecosystem, and I think that's what's going to drive the price appreciation for Kaspa. Of course, you'll get speculative pumps, people that come in and just want to speculate on price, but that's in any asset. But fundamentals is what's going to drive Kaspa to a valuation that we believe it's going to get to in the future, and you just got to have the patience to stick to it, man. So that's my thoughts on Kaspa. There's definitely coins where I am in the camp of, hey, I want this thing to pump. I want a 5 or a 10x. And to get the hell out of here. And there's some coins that I'm willing to hold long term, and Kaspa's in that category. So, all right, guys. I gotta split. I gotta go pick up my kids from school. Yeah. So either way, guys, I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Remember, we're doing a $100 giveaway tomorrow on the live show in the morning. And so all you gotta do is watch the stake video we put up. It's 11 minutes. Comment stake in the comment section, and we'll be good to go. You'll be in the entry to win 100 bucks. That's all you got to do. Literally nothing else. With that being said, my friends, thank you all very much for joining. I appreciate all of you. Love you guys, and big thank you to the super chats and to Po Man for gifting those memberships. Until next time, guys. Peace.